now we are recording, so let us begin in 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Black Hot. I ain't even gonna call myself the Black Prospector. I was gonna say the Black Something Podcast. And now I'm even getting the name of the show all mixed up. So let's start that over. This is why I definitely got to consolidate into one show. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Black Prospector Show. Just go ahead. We're going to go ahead and let you know now we're rebranding the show. It was Midlife Manhood, but now we're going to move the name over to the Black Prospector because that's definitely kind of fits my lifestyle a little bit better. And I'm joined today by Corey and T Real. So we have some stuff we want to throw out here and talk about it with you today, because we're going to jump in, not trying to ride the Kevin Samuels jock or nothing, but we are going to talk about Kevin Samuels and really something that he's put out there that everyone's talking about is this new phrase about being a high value man. Now, before we can talk about being a high value man, let me go ahead and tell you, like everybody says on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to remind you again as the show goes on, because we definitely want to get this show out there to more people, because I'm the OG in the house, but I'm joined by my two youngsters on here that's giving you definitely the perspective. We try to cover all demographics on here. And as you know, we're not a show just talking about women and Black women and going toward a female audience. Plenty of those shows out there. We're not hating on them at all, but we're here to talk about men's issues, things going on in the life of men of all ages. But before we begin, I got to introduce to you my main man, Mr. Perfect. Now, before we start every show, we're going to have Mr. Perfect tell you why he's Mr. Perfect, because I think Mr. Perfect is the perfect sidekick for this show. Mr. Perfect, what do you have to say to the audience today?
Do you like the new aromatherapy candles I bought for you yesterday?
See, Mr. Perfect be bringing it. Mr. Perfect, let me put Mr. Perfect back on over here. Mr. Perfect is Mr. Perfect because he says whatever the ladies love. Whatever they love, that's what he says. That's his job. That's his role. So today we're going to talk about being that high value man. And I guess the question that we're going to have is, part of being a high value man, is it doing and is it saying anything that a woman wants? And some people call that kind of the alpha 1.0 man, but we'll get to that a little bit later. First, y'all introduce yourselves. Anything you want to add? Any what's up to the audience? And then we'll jump right on into it. Corey, you first. We'll go in the order that I see you on the screen.
Hey, I'm just glad to be back on here. Glad to be doing another pod. It's a good topic. It's about to be fun.
All right, T Real.
No, likewise. I mean, it's always a pleasure to be on, and I look forward to diving into this conversation, seeing what the fans have to respond to as well. So,
all right, man. Well, actually, I'm going to let you start it off, T Real, because you came up with the topic when I threw out there some things that we can talk about. You threw this one out there, so like I asked you in kind of the pregame. What were you thinking? Where were your thoughts going around? Why did this topic kind of jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a consistent, I say a fairly consistent watcher of Kevin Samuels' content. I've gone back and watched things that when he first started and just kind of gradually doing, and obviously a lot of his current content, and his page is for high value men, and he has his certain qualifications for them. But I think that everyone kind of has their own interpretation of what a high value man is. So I think it's necessary to make sure you understand where you are and then where a high value man is. And essentially, I look at a high value man as where you're trying to be and then get in there. Whatever that is, that's where a high value man is for you at that point. Now, I guess you could go ahead and say a high value man should have A, B, C, and D, and then you can go from there. But I mean, that varies, right? So success, does that equal a high value man? What is it? So, that's kind of the things that I thought about, and I figured that would be a good conversation.
All right, Corey, what about you? What do you think a high value man is?
High value man is, I mean, it's person to person, really. It's really, what do you consider yourself? Because at the end of the day, it's no one. I mean, everyone's gonna judge you, but at the end of the day, how you feel about yourself, self-love, that's a high value man to me. You could be the poorest of the poor, but if you still value yourself and you still want other people to value you, then you can still be a valuable person, no matter if you have money or if you don't have money. It's really self-love to me. That's what I consider it.
All right, all right. Just for everybody's background, so I'll give my age. I will soon be 51. T-Real, how old are you?
23.
Corey?
31.
All right. So everybody gets an idea that when we're talking about a high value man or just anything being a man, you got an idea where we're at on the age range, because that may play a role. I'm sure some people will say, oh, well, but what about for this age group, or what about for that age group? So we all have our different perspectives. I'm going to say, I think being a high value man, to me, I think it is a bit kind of where you guys were alluding to. It does depend more on how you see yourself. But I also do think that there is a kind of, there is an objective standard for being a high value man as well, and how other people view you. And I think it would be hard for a homeless dude to say, I'm a high value man. High value to who? Another homeless babe? I mean, you know, I've seen a homeless dude mac another homeless woman. I mean, you know, I remember I gave her some food, and next thing I know, it was some dude coming downtown Detroit, man, over there in Greektown, just left, was it Nico's? And I gave the lady, you know, my pizza, and then I'm getting in the car, getting ready to leave, and I see this dude come across the street, and then he like took the pizza from, I guess he was mad because I don't know, she took a pizza from another guy, you know, and that's kind of how he acted. And, you know, and then I'm mad, like, I'm gave you some food. I could even understood if he would have snatched it from her and ate it. He didn't even do that. He threw a pizza down. And so maybe she took that because she considers him a high value man. I don't know. I don't consider him a high value man. So I do think there's a little bit of objectivity to being a high value man. If I go to another, you know, I'll say YouTube content guy I listen to all the time, Rich Cooper, where, you know, he talks about the sixes, and he said he got the sixes from women, actually. 6 inches in the pants, 6-figure income, 600 horsepower car, 6 feet tall, 6-pack abs, and there's another 6 that I'm forgetting. I can't remember the other 6, but to him, that's kind of like the standard every dude should be really trying to get. Now, he's not saying that is, again, high value, but I think he would put that into that category. So for me, I think it's a little bit of both ways. I think depending on how a person looks at you, there's a standard society has, but I think there's also a standard that a man has to have for himself as well.
I definitely agree with that. You know, it varies person to person though. It definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, you can go. I agree. There's some basic qualifications, but at some point, that list can get so long, and some people will have certain criteria that needs to be on there, and others will say, "Not sure," and I don't really think so. And I think that's where the problem comes in, at trying to lock in a solid definition.
Why do you think? And I'll throw this one at you, Corey. Why do you think that now that Kevin Samuels keeps mentioning high value, that it's just that's all everybody's talking about? That now this part is everybody high value man.
Well, because for many years we've always just looked at women as being high value and man as just being there's just one kind of level, certain standard for a man, you know. So, you know, at it for many years we just been looking at women, and you know, it's a lot of topics are about women. No one really pays attention to the man. You know, no one really goes and says, well, as far as even men's happiness, you know, we don't even go as that far. We always look at when are the women happy? Are we doing what we need to do to keep our women? You know, happy house, happy wife, happy life, things like that. We never look at the man. We never get to sit back and look at happy husband, happy life. Because really, if you dig deeper into it, you need a man at the end of the day, because a lot of things, certain things can't get done without a man. But we don't ever look at that. We always just want to focus on the women. So now I think it's kind of a shift in power, especially nowadays, where men are tired of that. We want to be valued just the way women want to be valued. You know, when you look at how he went off as far as women want certain standards of what a man looks like, but we never go and look at what we want women to look like. Like he said it, there's women that are built like linebackers, built like running backs, but they have a certain standard. So now it's really a shift in power. You can really tell.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, because it does seem as though men have always had to meet a certain level to be high value. Even though it was almost like an unspoken thing, and like you said, nobody paid attention, but yet everybody expected it. Like we said, I think a homeless dude, he could say he high value, but there's no woman that will look at him as being high value. But you could take a woman that she could be in the projects, have 4 kids by 4 different fathers and everything else, and she could still walk around like she's high value, and will say she's high value. And it's gonna be plenty of dudes that'll be like, yeah, girl, because you thick. Mm-hmm. And, give her all the attention she wants. So good point. Terrell, you got something to add on that?
Yeah, I think let me make sure. I want to make sure I'm targeting exactly on your question. So go ahead and repeat it for me.
I don't even remember how I exactly put it. Why do you think everybody's talking about being high value these days?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, number one, everybody's sitting at home for the most part, when on the job or whatever, and they got a lot of time to watch what everybody's saying, a lot of time to listen to what everybody's saying, and they're thinking, right? So I think because Kevin Samuels has been one of the very against the grain, against modern society, that he's raising red flags all over the place. And so for the most part, his definitions of high value man is what a lot of people have been aiming for anyway. And that's having a bunch of money, that's you having the freedom to do whatever you want from essentially, and you being able to have all the females you want, whether in a relationship or not, because this is just putting a price tag on everything, right? So there's nothing that should just be dear to you and that should be sacred. It's essentially everything has a price. And if one price is higher, little bank take big bank, or big bank take little bank, all across the board. So I think that is what's going through, and because everybody's looking for quick, get rich quick schemes. That's another reason why everybody's chasing high value, because if I get X amount of dollars and I can sustain it for 10 years, 5 years, then I'm good to go. Now I'm high value man. I can do whatever I want to do. And yeah.
All right. So let's take it back then for a second. Let's kind of take category by category. Do we think, and I think probably everybody would agree, or maybe they don't. So I'll just throw it out here like this. Should we say that income should be attached to being a high value man? Start with you, T-Rip.
I would. I don't want to be biased. I would say your I can't think of the terminology for it, but income debt ratio. How much money do you actually have at that moment, right? If you're in X amount of dollars debt, well, now you can't ever grow the wealth that you're supposed to, because you're always giving it away. You're always slave to the lender at that point. So I would say high value man would be making sure you are financially stable and you are continuing to work to build upon your finances, being able to leave something off to your offspring. Maybe that's not money, but it's the investments that you have, your assets, land, and all of that. Now I can pass that off without them inheriting the debt on it,
Corey, what about you?
I agree. It's how you treat your money, how you spend your money. If you are out here with your last dime and you're doing silly stuff with it, then you're not really adding to any value to yourself as far as your finances are concerned. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we all know money rules the world. So yeah, you do need a little bit of money. Yeah, you do need to have somewhat of a financial stability to be able to keep investing in yourself, because at the end, like, you have you. So you should invest in yourself. You should invest in something that's going to help you grow. And like you said, your offspring. If you have offspring, you're going to need something to pass down, and not just, memories.
Okay, so both of you saying that being a high value man, you would not attach a particular, let's say, a yearly salary amount to that.
No.
Would you say a man who has a part-time job working at Walmart, is he a high value man?